Incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsie.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the street lights spark. We read those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters of books, we geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi
guys. We are indeed those sci-fi guys, and this is at the Sci-Fi Guys Show. Just two working dudes, different lives and jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We're your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and welcome to our show where being a YouTuber is all about being in your basement, yelling into a camera about the failure of others. Amen.
Well, I'm DT Cavman, and I know for a fact that neither one of us are in our basement.
No, but it's a good quote from a former TV executive out of Canada, Paul Chato. I got to give him full credit. That was a very good line, and I'm like, I got to use that. So, but I got to give credit to it as well. He was talking about how, you know, basically you can't count on being a social media person and having it be your sole income. Like, if this is a side gig and you have fun with it like we do, then have at it. Do your thing. Like, but don't put all your eggs in one basket and just live off of that, because this was never supposed to be like that. I'm like, amen, brother. Although he does that. But well, actually, he does.
But clearly people are doing that.
Yeah, you're talking about the top like 4 or 5% of people that do that. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But you know, how many football players are out there? But how many of them are in the NFL? You know,
and that's a fair assessment. I'm just saying it's not as small as we all like to believe. I mean,
no.
You'd also think, who would go ahead and pay for OnlyFans? But apparently, people are raking it in.
I've heard some people that I know who pay for OnlyFans. Not this guy, by the way. I gotta be clear on the record. No. I have never even been to that website.
Absolutely not interested.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's like, but no, I know people who have done it. I'm like, really? You did it? Okay. And then I know people who have kids who are friends, whose kids are friends with other kids whose parents are on OnlyFans. And it's like, oh, what? Like,
yeah, that's where the world of the internet really gets sideways. At least,
yeah.
At least here, I mean, people who know us know we do this, but it's nerd shit.
It's the same thing that we've done since we were in fifth grade. Fifth and sixth grade. Like, I mean,
we're putting it out in public and no one's listening to it the same way. I mean, people are, but it's not like, you know, it's not like we're
how dare
monetized.
You? Yeah.
I mean,
we had a record 14,000 views on our channel the other day.
And I'm not downplaying what we're putting out there, our content or our fans, which I'm extremely grateful for. It's just we're not monetizing it, and that's more what I mean, right? So we haven't monetized it. We're not trying to get rich off it. Although, folks, if you do want to give us money, I'm not going to turn it down.
No, yeah, just let us know. Go to those sci-fi guys at gmail.com. Just send us a little note. We're fine. We'll take Apple Pay. We'll take PayPal, Venmo. I think I set up a Venmo account, actually, now that I think about it. I'll have to check that out. But, yeah. So, but it was an interesting
fascinating
deal.
You know, especially when, like, I don't know, something came across my news feed about, you know, celebrities, some who's like, oh, well, I was struggling to make ends meet. I'm like, so I'm going to go ahead and join OnlyFans. I'm like,
That's a line. Once you cross it, you can't uncross that, buddy.
Hey, look, as far as I don't know what it is. I mean, I get the concept, but it's like it's not anything I'm diving into. Because it's not like you just subscribe to one website from what I'm following. It's like you got to subscribe to each individual person.
Oh yeah, yeah. You subscribe to a particular account apparently. So again, folks, I've not even gone to the website, so I got to be very clear.
There's enough information out there through open source, especially since anytime some relatively big name joins it for some reason. There's an article.
Shannon Elizabeth.
Shannon Elizabeth did. That was it.
And people got mad at her because she was only posting like non-estual images or maybe a couple tease images, but nothing like of the OF variety that one would expect of someone with what she's known for in American Pie. So the one scene in the one movie that she ever did that in. That's it. That's what, 27 years old now? Oh.
Why do you do this?
I'm sorry. I just had a stroke. Give me a second. Anyway, yeah.
I think we need to be sponsored by Only Brand.
Only Brand, Metamucil, what's that? Hot.
Sooner or later,
knee support.
Don't knock those. Retired military knee braces are a real thing for this guy.
Yeah, same. I wear one for Disneyland every year. So, well, I say every year, but it's preventative. Like, so, but yeah.
Don't worry. At some point, we'll get somebody trying to sell a reverse mortgage on this here soon enough.
I'm William Devane. Have you heard of a reverse mortgage?
Tom Selleck did it for a while, I think.
I know. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into it, but the idea of a reverse mortgage feels like they talk about it being a noble thing for you to be able to enjoy your life and everything, but we all know it's really a path of last ditch resort. Like, you can't afford anything off of the Social Security you got, and so now you've got to go in and basically liquidate all of your assets while you can still live there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's sad like a pawn shop. It's sad like a pawn shop. Like, it's tough. Or the check cashing places.
That's called 50% of the business in an army town.
Yeah, I know. And that so sucks. Like, and I'm sure wisdom is passed on to as many of those enlisted men as possible, but they still fall into the trap.
So many do.
Yeah.
Others learn from their peers' mistakes. Some of them have to learn from their own mistakes, and then they go on to tell other people not to do it. Others just continue to fall down the trap. Yep.
That's it.
A brand new Mustang with 20% interest. I'm in. No. No.
That gave me chest pains.
Sir, the Hooters waitress, she loves me. No.
Yeah. No. Run. Yeah, but Kennedy meant she's never said that to another private before.
I had 2 privates last week who said the same thing. Stop.
Yeah. About Kennedy. Yeah. I know. I had to just double emphasize that. I know.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, that's good stuff. So, all right. So one more thing about social media and stuff. I also did come across a really cool interview with a futurist. I mean, I call him a futurist. I don't know if he calls himself that. Sorry. Chris Willix, Chris, like regular Chris, Willx on YouTube. He interviews David Friedberg about the dawning of AI and other interesting technological things such as fusion and the dawn of space travel, and how going to the moon is going to bring an abundance to the earth and an abundance of wealth to everyone in some form or another, and increased
Really?
productivity. And increased.
Didn't we
Because you
go to the
increase
moon
wealth.
back in the 60s?
Yeah, but we didn't bring much back except a bag full of rocks, and that's about it. We didn't refine it. We didn't make refineries on the moon. We didn't create helium-3 collectors, things like that. But that's what he's talking about.
But really, the Helium franchise went downhill after the first one anyway.
Yeah, it was a little repetitive. That's the thing about that first game. It was a little repetitive, and the Flood just was like, they just kept using the same game models. It was weird. Master Chief, though, I liked. So anyway, very interesting listen, like almost 3 hours long, but I was wrapped with attention to it. He talks about how we're probably going to be able to solve the aging crisis within the next 10 to 30 years.
The aging crisis?
The aging crisis. Like, we'll literally be able to repair ourselves and reverse our aging process.
Could they step it up a little? I'm tired of getting a sunburn on my scalp when I don't wear a hat.
Believe me. Literally, he literally said that at this point in our lives, we need to be careful and just not to F it up, so that we'll still be alive when these treatments become available within our lifetimes. Like, just don't mess it up. Like, don't like,
I think he's not thinking about the spiking economy issues. That stuff would not be for the affordable class.
Well, here's the fun part. Actually, with the dawn of AI, it would be able to be.
Who's dawn?
Would be able to be. Well, with the advent of AI. I know.
It's not Christmas. Come on, man.
Oh, please. Okay. You're splitting hairs and you're getting me off my track. Let me just say this one last thing. I'm trying to give you hope. I'm trying to give you hope, okay? So
rebellions are built on hope.
That's it. So basically, AI can be used to be more productive in developing these drugs and these compounds and these proteins that will allow the cells to be able to repair themselves by switching the operands from the ones that they were misplaced on the activation of the cell.
I saw this episode of Deep Space Nine. This is in the cards. This guy is This is one step below the guy who thinks that you die because your cells get bored.
Yeah. Well, they stop functioning right. That's what aging is.
Yeah, and he happened to say it to a Vorta in front of a couple of Jem'Hadar. I'm surprised he made it through that at all.
I know.
You want to die.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, so just, PSA, everyone, don't mess it up right now. Like, be cautious and be careful, because the worst part would be like you shuffle off this mortal coil and the next day that drug goes on the market.
It's going to happen to somebody, dude.
I know, but that's the tragedy. Here's the last part of this. You suddenly have people being able to live 400, 500, 600 years. You immediately solve the low birth rate crisis that we have in modern civilization, because you expand the lifespan. You don't need to have as many children in such a short amount of time. And so you can actually space that stuff out even further to create something. But we're going to have a whole bunch of abundance of stuff anyway. But it was a very optimistic.
Sure. In the post scarcity, we're going to have some abundance. Good.
We will. That's what he's saying. I'm very pleased with the idea. I'm saying, as I always do, it sounds good, sounds interesting. Let's see how it plays out. I'm not going to dismiss it.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Exactly. That's my point. So there is hope in this future. Yeah, just keep it like that, guys. There's hope in this future. It's not all doom and gloom.
I hope so.
There is. But you know who didn't have hope? Well,
it's dangerous. That's a dangerous.
Now I'm trying to figure out the names of everyone here. Shoot. Was it not Chief? Was it Lieutenant Lawson?
Captain.
Yeah, Captain Lawson didn't have hope. That's another story for tonight. Here we go. What are we here to talk about tonight, DT?
We are here to do the final review of the latest and fascinating Star Wars animated series, Maul. Shadow Lord.
Nice. You had that prepped and ready to go.
Yes, I did.
Yup, you did.
I'm going to keep it on blue, though, folks.
You can change the color on it?
I can.
Oh.
I'll get into this later on, dude. Trust me. But yes, you can. I can cycle through like different colors.
Yeah. So we saw the first 3 episodes last time. We talked about that, and you were able to I assume, watch the last 7 episodes.
Correct. So, folks, just a reminder: this week was May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
And
yes.
Those of us who attended the Church of Rome will say, and also with you.
Always, every time, every damn time. It crosses my that's my reflex.
I know it is. But anyway, my friends, Maul Shadow Lord, they debuted it and dropping 2 episodes a week, leading all the way up to drop the last 2 episodes on May the 4th, which I managed to get. I managed to catch up and get all the episodes through episode 8 this weekend, and was all set to watch Maul Shadow Lord episodes 9 and 10 on Monday when it aired. And let me tell you, they did not disappoint. They
I was wondering what you thought.
Well,
that's why we're here, I guess.
How episode 9 ended, blew everybody's socks off.
You know what? I gotta say, I've seen that. I've seen what how that happened twice already. But I'll explain later.
That's why I wore a second pair of socks.
Oh, gross. Okay. I hope they were clean.
Well, one of them was. They were on the outside of the other ones.
Yeah.
All right, so rather than dive through the whole one by each, you want to just get into it and kind of have a conversation about what we liked about the entire project. We already said that it was a bit of a slow burn, and it was really starting to build as we got through the end of episode 3, right?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, this whole thing could be pushed down to a solid 2 hours, a 2-hour movie, maybe 90 minutes. The whole 10 episodes was just them trying to get off of, was it JAXA? Again, I messed up. Janix. I said JAXA the last time too. That's the funny part.
Sure.
But basically, every single episode was them being stymied in one way or another, trying to get off of Janix, and they're being followed by Inquisitors. That's
Right.
about it.
Especially since the law is now been superseded by the Imperials. So Lawson is now on the run because he's been cited with these rogue Jedi, right?
Yep.
And you have 3 different groups of people who are doing everything they can to avoid getting the Empire involved. The criminal element, kind of headed by Maul, the local authorities led by Lawson, and then the 2 Jedi who are just trying to escape, survive, get out and away from the Empire, right? Well, protocol determines that, if like Maul's or a Jedi or any of these people like show up, like, things are hardwired into the system. It's something, one of these people pop up, it's got to go to the Empire. And Lawson's dutiful droid counterpart, Two Boots, fires it up and calls the Empire. it's procedure. And the Empire shows up and fucks everything up, as it always does. They take over everything. They squashed the police force. They killed the chief. They put out a warrant for Lawson's arrest.
That was sick. That was
just
actually really sad because I liked the chief.
You only get a little bit of her, but you don't get the corrupt admiral vibe from her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just another person trying to do the best they can, and clearly must have protested or something against Imperial decision making, got axed, and then they unleash Inquisitors to hunt down Maul and the Jedi, including Mack, the Inquisitor gas cloud, resurrected Inquisitor, who was featured in the first season of Ahsoka.
Was he the one on that shipping yard or something that looked a little like Corellia but wasn't Corellia?
Yeah, it was Corellia. They were on Corellia at one point. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Well, I'll share this one instead. This guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a cloud. Is that what he is?
I think he was killed and resurrected because when they killed him in Ahsoka, there was like no body. It like turned into like green mist. Like they used Night Sister magic, which is like this green energy, I think, to resurrect this guy. So, and you don't know what this guy's fate is really. Even by the end of this.
But he's very menacing. He was very well played out character,
right?
Well used.
And
they didn't have him say a lot. He just stood there, and he could obviously get whatever he wanted when he was questioning everyone.
And let's be honest, the less some Inquisitors say, the better. Well,
oh yeah.
The Grand Inquisitor had a nice menace to him, especially in Rebels, mostly in Rebels. And then, but like the ones who talk too much are a little,
Classic example. Boba Fett. They had Boba Fett talk too much, to the point where you got to keep some
Yeah, that's true. And
okay.
What has been kind of interesting though is,
they share this real fast. I'm turned off the sound, but this is Mack in live action right here.
Yes.
So actually, it did a good job. I mean, did we see him first in Ahsoka?
Yes.
Okay. And we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I'd like to see his fate. And there it is. Okay. Okay. Oh, and he shriveled up too. Nice.
Yeah.
Been a while. Been a while.
It's all
Sorry.
good.
I needed to see it because I mean, I just needed to see it. So.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. They brought in that guy who you had seen previously in Ahsoka, but they also brought in, when they brought in the other Inquisitor, the 11th brother, I think is they have him listed as. That is the same Inquisitor, I believe, that Ahsoka faces down in Tales of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I was like, oh, well, I guess they can't kill him here.
Probably not.
Ahsoka's the one who kills him. And Filoni,
Yeah.
of course, would know this from his own shit. So.
I you know what? There's so much timeline jumping. I can't keep track of it. I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong, but let me complain once more. It's a little irritating that I can't keep track of things chronologically.
Well, here's the good news: is that they seem to be generally keeping in line, and if you've noticed, they're keeping in known pools right now. If you've noticed, of time, right? So they jump back a lot. They're filling in a lot of the gaps between the prequel and the original eras, and they are creeping out past the original trilogy with The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, even Ahsoka. Those are all kind of moving forward, and then also Skeleton Crew took place in a similar time as well. In fact, Lucasfilm released a timeline just
When does
like over the
Skeleton
last
Crew
week.
take place?
Supposedly around the same time as The Mandalorian, because the only true recognizable is like the one pirate who escaped from Navarro, the chatty pirate who kept harassing Mando during season 3. Not his boss, the giant pile of moss, but
not the moss pile, not Mossbeard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who had a strange Cockney accent, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, these look like phantoms, by the way. Like both of them. I get the feeling that these two Inquisitors are phantom-esque.
Well, obviously, the masks and the cloaks and the helmets and the weapons are supposed to come out of like nightmare, right? Like, and you saw that in Rebels in how some of these Inquisitors showed up,
Sure.
The spinning blade, a lot of intimidation and threat. They interrogate Lawson. They later interrogate his son when he's captured. It's all really wild. So you get some of this, menace that they bring. But it's also, I've seen these guys before, so it does kind of tie it into the wider
Didn't
narrative.
recognize it. Didn't recognize it.
Maybe not
they
you.
were brand new to me. They were brand new to me. I mean, yeah.
Well, the guy in the foreground here, the 11th brother, this dude's look really stands out.
Yeah.
And while he's not voiced in this series, I believe Clancy Brown was the one who voiced him in Tales of the Jedi. So
yeah, there's so much stuff. This requires rewatching, and I don't have time for that. Like, and we talk about it. We watch these things, we talk about them, and I remember just long enough, and then that's bothersome to me. I don't know if it's a failing in both the structure of what Lucasfilm is doing, or because it's not like I have a dismissive mind or a bad memory.
yeah, but you could be going senile.
Stop it. But yes. I don't want to think about that, though.
I don't either. I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just forgive me. It's a little irritating.
I
did like these guys. They were just new to me, and they were used very effectively in their job. Like, they were very what was good? They were very competent at what they were doing. They weren't bumbling fools.
No, they weren't.
They were easily tricked. They weren't easily tricked. They were actually on the tail of the Lawsons the entire time. And Maul even had to kind of go back and help them, the Lawsons, that is, because Devin was with them.
Well, he knew that the only way to withstand the power of this group showing up was he had to cobble together as much as possible, because he keeps losing his followers, right?
Right.
The more fights he's into, the more people he ends up losing, which is really pissing him off, because these other Zabraks who have the same color scheme are other Night Brothers. They're from his tribe, clearly. Right. And that bothered him. You saw that when these guys died. Those guys in particular, it bothered him.
Yeah.
And when you see pain. Yeah. And then you have Rook Cast, who is his Mandalorian deputy. She's been with him since season 7 of the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And has been associated with him in other associated media. I'm not saying he was overly attached to her per se, but he recognized her competence and she was loyal to him. Even when others of the group were starting to splinter off. She was the last one of his followers to die too.
Yeah. Yeah, she was. Spoiler alert, by the way, everybody. We're going to be getting into spoilers, so just FYI. From here on out, we're just going to get into spoilers. Okay. Let's go into some things we liked and some things I questioned.
Okay.
Why don't you start?
Well, big thing I liked Captain Brander Lawson.
Yep.
Not an original character per se, as in he's the overworked police officer. He's like a good man trying to, keep law and order. He kind of has to play in the gray area because he knows, he's trying to find a way to keep a balance with the various criminal elements, but he doesn't want the Empire in because he knows that'll curtail everything. But he's also generally a good man and a good cop. And he is also, unfortunately, the dad who's always getting pulled away from work from his family.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he always have an accent?
Yes.
Did he really? I didn't hear that damn accent until the last 2 episodes.
So he's played by Wagner Mora. Mm-hmm. He's this was the guy who played Pablo Escobar in Narcos on Netflix.
It's funny because
he's a Brazilian actor.
yeah, there you go. Because Latinos in North America were kind of laughing at his accent in Narcos because he couldn't quite get it right. Speaking of accents, by the way, I'm sure he was wonderful.
Also,
I'm not a big fan of narco stories and stuff like that.
Is because he's actually first language is Portuguese, so maybe that was the difference.
No, of course it was. Of course it was. I'm not alleging otherwise. I'm just saying, like, it was an interesting choice.
Sure.
To do for someone who didn't speak Spanish as a first language and everything. So you're gonna have an accent barrier. He does. No, I know he does, but it wasn't his first language.
Sure.
So, anyway, I didn't hear his accent until the chapter 9, which and it started to bother me because I'm sitting here like, wait, was this always here? I mean, it's fine, but I just like, did something happen like in the production? Like,
no, it was right there.
I was so confused.
But I like this guy. Now, granted, I also watch a lot of cop shows and whatnot, but I like this guy. You feel for him. He feels real. Like in a world where there's space wizards with laser swords, right?
Yes.
And mystical otherworldly beings and entities and all sorts of crazy aliens with different abilities. This is a hard-working guy trying to keep law and order and raise his kid. And you just you empathize with a guy like him, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Plus, he's proven to have a moral compass. He's he's just a good man trying to do his job. Yeah,
he knew that it wasn't just as simple as her being a bad kid. He was like, okay, something's up with you. Just come clean. We can take and then we'll send you home. It's fine. Just otherwise, you're gonna spend the night here. And then she didn't cooperate. She's like, all right, okay, well, here you go. So, let's talk about names, shall we? I noticed that this show used names as ways to describe the characters. Now, Darth Maul, obviously, that was set in stone, back in '99. But let's talk about Lawson for a second. Son of Law. He was a son of Law. So was Riley. Literally the son of the Law. Right. Which is interesting. I decided to look up the name Devin because Devin is kind of the journeyman that we're following mostly. It was Lawson and it was Devin. Maul was just kind of the facilitator watching, trying to machinate. You know what I mean? And Devin, in the same spelling as listed on IMDb, derived from English country of Devon, which itself comes from the Celtic word Difnine, meaning deep valley or deep stream. Celtic roots lead to in other names, but in this context, it can mean descendant of Damhan, with Damhan being the byname of Fawn or Little Dark One.
Interesting.
I know. I think they did that one on purpose because Devin is a very English name, and they just gave it to this alien. Like they usually try to like Sendula, although that sounds very human too. Now I think about it.
Well,
but
Hera,
you know what I mean? It seemed a little Greek, on the nose.
Right?
Yeah.
Hera is Greek. Queen of the
Hera
gods.
is Greek. That's true. She was basically the queen of the ghost. And everything. So, but I found it to be more front and center here. Now, I didn't look up other names, but shall we? Like, what does Riley mean? How do you spell Riley again? Ryle?
Yes.
Let's see. Just for
Star
fun.
Wars.
Brave little bear, courageous or valiant. Look at that.
In that spelling.
In that spelling. It's technically a feminine version of the American origin. But yeah. Yeah. Rye clearing. Yeah, basically. How fun is that? Let's look at others. Give me another one.
Vario. Luti Vario. Vario, the last name is Vario, like Mario, but with a V.
Okay, let's see.
By the way, just know his first name is Luti, and he is a crime lord. So I guess looting would have been a little too on the nose.
Oh my God. Okay, this is the little guy, right? Or is this the big guy? Oh, it's the little guy. It's little. Okay, that was with us since the beginning all the way through. Okay.
Yeah.
First name Vario has Latin origin, is derived from the Latin
last name is Vario.
I know, but this is what I'm reading. The name Vario has Latin origins, is derived from the Latin word various, which means various, diverse, or changing. Root conveys qualities such as adaptability, versatility, and multifaceted nature. Look at that. He definitely was a snake that really adapted to the needs of the moment. And the people that, I mean, think about it. Like he how many times was he almost killed because they wanted him dead, and he talked himself out of it and made himself useful to that person? At least twice.
That's pretty much what he spent the entire series doing.
We're on a roll, dude. One more. Let's do one more. Give me one more.
All right. Iko Dio Dake.
Okay, this is going to be a lot of fun. How do I spell Dake?
Daki.
Okay. Might say Drake. Let's see. Slavic and Baltic origins. Dake is often diminutive form of names like Danica, meaning morning star, or day star, symbolizing brightness and new beginnings. Oh, wow. Pure or virtuous.
That I buy, yes.
Yep. There you go. Look at that. All these names add meaning. Interesting.
Well,
interesting.
Lucas made a habit of those kind of names. And who is Filoni's mentor?
Yeah, George Lucas. But yeah, no, I'm this is the first time I actually see it being apparent when it came to their characters' virtue, not virtues, virtues or characteristics. It felt things started to become on the nose, which is fine. I like it. I love names that describe the person when it sounds like a normal name. So it's fun. It's kind of a throwback to, I don't know. It's a throwback kind of. So it's fun. Okay. Something else you liked?
Well, I do like how they kind of tie it to the wider universe. But what I kind of really liked was, kind of Maul had this weird vision quest. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, right here.
Like Maul is like the, at various points, it's almost like an unstoppable machine. And this, you see him, he's
literally
right, but this is Maul, like at one of his weakest points. Even when he was found by his brother with the spider legs and everything, he was just so consumed with rage that he was, he was so dangerous. You really got to see his mind in this. You know, the mind games he was playing, the fact that he would try to team up with whoever he could to, alter the situation, change his plans, but and he was a formidable warrior who found himself, continuously dealing with damage to his prosthetic legs and all of his plans always breaking down.
The more his legs being damaged were representative of his plans being more and more chipped away, hindering him more and more. And he became more and more not what's the word? Humbled. I think. Humbled by the situation that he was in, the more his legs got damaged. And when he basically had to fall into a descent into Tartarus, basically, when he fell into the underground after that battle with the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
And he had that vision quest that made him try to find himself again, which we saw his pain and everything. Yeah, and Maul is a mixed bag, man. Here's the tough part about Maul. He was never explored in the main stories, which it's sad because this would have been fantastic in the main movies. If we saw Maul come back in Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, especially, that would have been interesting. But again, I suppose it was really a Skywalker saga. This is a Maul. You take the vision away, or you take the focus away from Skywalker if you did that, I guess. So I suppose.
Agreed. But also,
there is a power to Maul's storyline. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right, but you kind of get the feeling that Lucas either regretted the whole Maul early death or wanted or had something deeper planned, because apparently he was supposed to be the main villain of Lucas's original outlines for the for 7, 8, and 9. Yeah.
Really? I know he talked about the wills and stuff, but really?
Yeah.
But that's a retroactive thing. That's post prequel trilogy and stuff.
Maybe. But that's the information that's gotten out. So
yeah. Interesting. By the way, I noticed that artistically, you saw a lot of everything was painted in watercolor styles.
Well, you know what else was interesting was that the background looked like matte paintings. It looked like it was done watercolors.
It absolutely was, and I'm wondering if it was because it was to show the imperfection of the universe. There weren't any. If you look at him, the lines aren't. The lines are kind of blurred and bled, on his face here. You see it in the background with the world. Everything kind of blends into itself, showing no real definition. Even with Devin's face, it's splotchy. And, that can go on. You don't want a perfectly toned looking face because it looks too fake. But yeah, look at this.
She
this
looks
background
more,
right here.
Yeah, she looks more defined, actually.
She does. She shows a definition, and that's on purpose, I believe. I'm reaching because I want to. I'm looking for something else to make my point. I think I found. Yeah, this could do it. Here. You know, look at that city. I mean, definitely looks like a matte painting of you know, from the 80s. You know, for
Yeah, it's
like
got a
Star Trek.
very, but it's also got a Blade Runner vibe look to it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, very much so. For what's the name of this planet again?
Janix.
Janix. Damn it, Janix. So I'm never gonna remember it. I'm just gonna try, but yeah, the artistic style I found very interesting and fun. I mean, look at this. Look, you know, you can see the blurring here. And I think there was a movement. I think were they traveling? They were traveling through a tunnel, weren't they?
Yes.
At high speed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm like, I saw this scene in Section 31. Did you not get
really?
the same vibe? Like when they were on that train, they had the same scene in Section 31.
I've really tried to put a lot of that out of my brain. This is a much better product.
Well, I agree, but I mean, the motif and everything, it looks just like what Section 31 was going for. Oh, you're going to make me look that up now. I'm going to have to look it up.
No, I think we need to move on. Don't mix good with bad.
I just need to, for my own personal sanity. Okay. Let's talk plot for a second. Like I said,
Sure.
The whole thing was them trying to get off the planet once the Jedi were found, after they ran into Maul incidentally.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Two Boots decided, hey, we're losing control of the situation here. When we have something like this, protocol is to call the Empire. Empire comes, everything goes to hell because they're bastards. Great. By the way, the portrayal of the Empire, really well done to emphasize how ruthless the Empire really is. Yeah. And I got a question for you about this. Mm-hmm. As someone who was in the armed services,
yes,
there were a lot of people that served on these ships during the Clone Wars that are still enlisted, I'm sure, or were officers back in the Clone Wars and are still officers now as the Empire. How do you transition from those officers that we really liked in the Clone Wars to these assholes that we were terrified of in an Empire world, a post-Republic world now?
Well, because you start to see that some of these people disappear. Anybody who...
The good ones.
They either get disappeared because they,
show sympathy or weakness.
Right.
Okay.
Or they retire / defect, and some of them, buy into some of it and ended up going down the rabbit hole. Like that was what happened. The most, I think the best example would be Admiral Yularen, who was basically the admiral of like the fleet for Anakin and Obi-Wan. He was the one who actually commanded the starships.
Did he do the voiceovers?
Like it was the same act. Yeah, it was the same voice. Yeah.
Okay. Not necessarily the same character, but yeah, mm-hmm. Same voice. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Yularen eventually becomes the head of the Imperial Intelligence Bureau. He appears briefly in Andor. He appears in Rebels. He's actually Agent Callus's mentor in Rebels, and they retconned him as the old guy with the white mustache and the white uniform in the Death Star scene in the original movie, in the board meeting where Vader does what everybody wished that they could do, during a bullshit staff meeting and choke a coworker.
Yeah.
But he was a
True.
guy who believed in law and order. He was from because there was no standing Republic Navy or anything. He was from one of these planetary defense forces. So this is a guy who kind of was raised on kind of law and order and following the rules and whatnot. Well, not necessarily a bad guy, kind of bought into the bringing law and order to the galaxy after the chaos of the Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
And so some of these people, they get in, they think they're doing the right thing, and they just get sucked deeper into it, you know?
I mean, look at this smarm right here. Like,
guys like him are the new guys who are coming in. This was like the guy who Crosshair killed, letting the clones die, right?
right.
These are the
I thought
guys,
about that too. Seeing this guy, I thought about that scene with Crosshair killing that Imperial.
This dude's basically his cousin. This could have been his brother. But this is the guy that the Empire is now promoting. These guys.
Promoting,
backstabbers,
recruiting.
schemers, selfish, and it keeps the competition. It's why it's so cutthroat, you know.
Yeah, I just find it interesting, that transition, because you always have to wonder how did it go from friendly fleet officers to this. And I get it, he probably wasn't in the Clone Wars. That was a long time ago. Well, actually not that long ago, but
a year or two ago.
Yeah, depending on where and when this takes place. I mean, it wasn't long after, that's for sure. Because these are not the Stormtrooper helmets; these are the transition helmets.
Right. This is basically going concurrently with the first couple seasons of the Bad Batch.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. That crossed my mind. The Empire was just so ruthless that I'm sitting there going, wow, we're not that far removed from the Republic. How'd this guy, how'd they find this guy so quickly? And I guess they always had him, and Palpatine always had some kind of thumb on how the Imperial fleet recruited and everything and stuff, I'm sure. But it's an interesting thought topic.
He was probably moving people into position throughout the lead up to the end of the Clone Wars. He'd already been putting his people in position and whatnot. And somehow, like all of the really competent people were either getting killed or discredited, or if not competent, at least the ones who aren't, so ambitious and ruthless that, it was going to get in the way. So they promoted ambition and ruthlessness as opposed to strict competence and whatnot. And I've seen that in the real military, where maybe not so much ruthlessness, but people who were networked and sycophants and whatnot. I've seen that.
A favoritism, if you will.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, every organization can fall privy to that. I mean, it's really just a matter of human nature, unfortunately.
So you had some.
Go ahead. Keep going.
I think you had. Did you get through all of your positives, or some of the things you liked that you wanted to mention?
I really gotta emphasize. I did like the show. It was not bad. It's not perfect, and I've mentioned that. It definitely is better than. I think this is a hell of a lot better than Ahsoka. I gotta be honest. Ahsoka just felt like a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of filler between. You had something happen in the first episode, something happened in the third episode, and some things happen in the final episode, and that's about it. Like, not a whole lot of nothing in between. Like, things at least happened. This was a chase. This was a chase series, and
this feels like a bit more of a cohesive storyline. I think
chase
Ahsoka
wise and
might still have been a bit of a suffering from the whole fallout of the lack of the Rangers of the New Republic, which was, I believe, supposed to cover certain aspects of this, and like the Mandalorian,
it was,
and
Those
Ahsoka
scripts
ended
were
up
written.
having to they had to absorb some things, I believe. So fingers crossed that season 2 is a little bit more cohesive, considering they had time to do some reviewing,
heavy
and
rewrites.
whatnot.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, indeed. So I don't want to repeat myself. I've said that. The only this is where I was talking to my old partner Elliot Gladstone, because he texted me out of the blue last night going, "Holy crap, did you watch Maul? Did you see those last 2 episodes? Holy crap, holy crap." I'm like, yeah, no, totally saw it. This is where I kind of feel dead inside, because there's nothing wrong, and we're gonna mention that, don't worry, but there's nothing wrong with what happened in those last 2 episodes. Absolutely nothing wrong with what happened. I wasn't moved by it because I had seen that very same surprise happen in the Jedi Fallen Order game and the Jedi Survivor game. The exact same scenarios of this surprise character. So I'm sitting here going, why am I not moved by this? This should be, I should be all over this going, holy crap, this is great, while I'm watching it. And I couldn't figure out until I realized, oh, I've seen this before. And freaking the two of the best video games that have come out about Star Wars since, I don't know, Knights of the Old Republic, I guess, which I never played, but I hear it's really good. The two best Star Wars games since then deadened me or gave me a spoiler to this, in a sense. Does that make sense?
I can see how it would, there's a spoiler factor there.
Because why don't go ahead and you do the reveal. I'm gonna stumble all over my words about it.
What basically happens is the Lawsons are on the run because Brander's, flaunting of Imperial law and whatnot, trying to do things himself. He gets crosswise of the Empire. Plus, he's also, when they followed the Jedi to his home, and so that made, he and his son had to go on the run, right? So he's got dealings with Jedi, so he's done in Janix. He's done in Imperial space, right? He's going to be hunted for harboring Jedi or collaborating with Jedi or whatever. Maul's group is getting whittled down by, infighting, defections, and constant fights with, other groups, as they're trying to, both the police, the criminal organizations, and then once the Inquisitors get in. But the Inquisitors are now hunting down the Jedi. They have to rescue Riley from holding, and Two Boots helps them get out, and they manage to steal a vehicle, get away, but they end up crossing paths with Maul, who realizes his force. They all have to get out because now that the Empire's here, they have to find a way out of the city so they can, get away from the Empire and get off planet. And Maul realizes, and so do the Jedi and Lawson, that they all need to work together. Now, Devin and Maul have kind of developed a little bit of this connection, even though she's kind of resisting it because, her master is trying to guide her back towards the light. She's kind of formed a little bit of a bond with Riley. And I know that And Lawson even admits that he'd seen the Jedi during the Clone Wars, and he just doesn't buy the story, which was a really neat line because, you know, you hear there's some people that, you know, the script got flipped. Palpatine's propaganda machine was so good that he turned people who thought the Jedi were great for years into like, oh, they were the bad guys. They were trying to take over all this shit.
Right.
Not only that, but you also see in the back half of the Clone Wars, people are just tired of the Clone Wars. They feel in the Jedi are the face, you know, and so people were getting tired of it. Like when the temple was bombed, that whole thing with Ahsoka's arc leaving the Jedi Order. People were losing faith in the Jedi and were turning on them. So, you know, but that was all Palpatine's machinations. So to see a guy like Lawson freely say, I just, it never made sense to me. You know, Dake basically saying like, the
anyone
Empire.
With modicum,
critical
thinking, just a little bit of critical thinking, you go, yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. So you can tell that it's kind of like three groups kind of merged really into two.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maul and his folks and the Lawsons and the Jedi are like two separate camps to a degree, all knowing they need to work together.
Yep.
But you know, as they suffer from Inquisitor attack, they're being driven to, you know, they get double crossed kind of by Lawson's underground
friend,
counterpart,
the casino owner, Bobby Hill.
Yeah, the casino. Yes. Sewell, what's her name? She got, you know, it was kind of like she got stuck with the Lando Calrissian, right? You know, the Empire showed up and basically, basically had to lure into her trap.
Pray I don't alter it further.
Exactly. Rita Sewell. Yeah, so she, you know, kind of gives him a little tip that, hey, this is, you know, something she said tipped him off that this is a trap, right? So they escape out of the casino. They try to circle back around and, you know, this firefight breaks out and she blows up this ship, sacrificing herself so they can escape. And it continues to set the Inquisitors back, but they're on their tail. So they got to go underground, out through the city, you know, into
through the berm,
this jungle. And now they're being hunted. And then they have to cross this acid lake, which of course, great. Maul loses his trusty creepy robot droid. Spy bot, you know, all of his Night Brothers go down, the Mandalorians die, and he's left with like basically
this is the moment when the spy bot
you
know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Starscream in
a little bit.
The Transformers movies.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of that. You know, he just observed most of the movie. Took advantage of the moment when he needed to. But yeah, just like Starscream in Transformers 07. So, but yeah. And then they get out into the jungle, and what happens?
And, you know, Rook Cast and the last remaining Mandalorian, they go out, scout ahead, because they've made contact with Dryden Voss, who was one of the multiple villains of Solo, played at the time by Paul Bettany, and he's a member of Crimson Dawn. No, he did not. Voss appeared in a non-speaking cameo as part of his Shadow Collective, seen in Hollow projections, during the Siege of Mandalore arc at the end of Clone Wars Season 7.
Yeah.
Kind of like how you got a non-speaking cameo from young Kanan Jarrus in that same season in like a hollow projection. Obviously, before he comes back and has his cameo in the premiere episode of The Bad Batch. But
Right.
so they contact Voss. They do a sit down. This is part of Maul's plan. Even before they link up with the Jedi to get out of the city, he needs extraction to get out from the Empire. Voss will help him get out if he kills Voss's boss in Crimson Dawn. So Voss said,
He's
"Okay,
like, fine, yep,
I'll do it. I'll hold up my end of the bargain." And he's like, "Just a heads up, I'm not here to fight the Empire. I'm just here to take you in and out." So, they get. So they're trying to get to this point outside the city where they can link up, and Vario's they're going through the jungle. Vario's got the tracker to the landing point. Lawson has given them the secret route through the old tunnels and power stations out. They get into a couple of fights in the tunnels. The survivors, it's Maul, 2 Mandalorians, Vario, the 2 Jedi, and the Lawsons. And then, the Mandalorians go ahead to scout out, and then you start hearing like weird noises, and like then Rook comes running back in. She's like, "Oh my God, it's awful." And then she like gets dragged away, and you hear the sound of a lightsaber, and you start hearing the familiar breathing, and then you get
in
this
the fog.
familiar shadow coming out of the fog, and Darth Vader, in a non-speaking role as well,
right,
shows up,
which was good.
Mm-hmm.
Which was very good. Again, less talky, more menacing.
Mm-hmm. Much like he was in the hallway scene in
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yes. That was brought up. Yes.
And that's it. Right? Because, here it is, man. And then Maul and the Jedi, it's now a 3-on-3. The 2 Inquisitors and Vader against, the 2 Jedi and Maul. And it's this just running lightsaber battle while Vario and the Lawsons are trying to escape, to the rendezvous point. And then they find they're ambushed by the Imperials, who's just, it's a fight. Like even when they manage to get one of the Imperial heavy weapons and take down one of the shuttles, more ships show up, and the Jedi and the like Maul and Dake are like just getting brutalized by Vader.
Yeah,
and,
this is a cool shot right here.
Yeah.
Can you? I want to interrupt you for a second. I got a question for you. Because this is great, seeing Darth Vader versus, Maul. I want to say Darth Maul is obviously is not Darth anymore, but you got the 2 Darths, the first one and the last one. And then did Anakin in the Phantom Menace see Darth Maul in the hangar that they landed in? Because was it in the hangar that Darth Maul revealed himself and the double lightsaber?
Well, remember, he almost ran Anakin over on Tatooine.
Oh,
remember?
That's right, he did. Okay, yeah, okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy to think that was that kid. Yeah.
Right. And
on Tatooine.
Maul was after Anakin in the first place in Clone Wars Season 7. That's who he wanted to come to Mandalore because he was trying. He knew Sidious was after Anakin,
right?
And he wanted to deprive Sidious of his next apprentice and whatnot. and this was why the fight scene with Anakin between Ahsoka and Maul was so good. Was he was telling her all of these things that she didn't want to believe, but Maul was kind of nailing these things on the head, and he brought it up to both Devin and Dake in this, and Maul, who's kind of he's not up to full strength because his mechanical joints have been injured. He hasn't been able to get them repaired, so he's like slower. He's not as the anger isn't quite there, but the cunning is. And at one point, he bails on the fight and lets Dake face Vader alone, where he's completely overmatched and dies.
I feel like Dake held his own for quite a while, but Dake was old.
He was overmatched, but he was not stupid, right?
Yeah,
he used
fought
what advantages.
Smartly.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not pushing back against the idea that he was overmatched. But hearing overmatched breeds. When I hear overmatched, I hear incompetence, but that's not what you were saying.
No,
at all.
He's not incompetent.
So,
he was quite competent, but the size difference, the strength, you can just see. Like, and Dake had been taking a beating already, through previous fights, much like the others. He's been on the run. He's probably, somewhat malnourished,
Yeah.
They're constantly on the run. It's not like, so, I mean, he's at a severe disadvantage anyway. I liked the character of Master Dake. You knew he was doomed. I'm surprised he actually made it to the final episode, to be honest with you.
I'm kind of surprised too, to be honest with you. And boom, right here. That is what happened. This is painful to watch.
It was because you kind of you liked the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew as a Jedi
and this
Master,
is probably this is a brutal kill, by the way, for a Disney TV show.
One of the things that some of the reviews said is that they liked the fact that this was not as sanitized. Like, you started to see these people dissolve in the acid.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't just like
too,
it wasn't like the
forgot about
the
that.
1 second cutaway. Like, this was, they did not. It wasn't gory. They didn't glorify it, but they did not shy away from some of the more brutal ways here.
Yeah, no,
and
I
will
agree.
tell you that this was, you've seen this guy for 10 episodes. You knew he was going to die. Either someone was going to kill him. I kind of figured at one point it was going to be Maul who turned on him. And yes, technically Maul led to his death because he bailed on the fight.
Just left him.
Vader. He knew that Vader was, that Dake was in the way of him taking Devin. He knew that was one of those things to push Devin over the edge too.
This is that moment of realization that Maul was no longer there. And look at that face. Oh my God.
In a alien reptilian face, to see the realization, and it was, the animation is fantastic. You can really see the despair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was very well done.
And the way I feel is, I believe he despairs not of his own demise, that he knows that Devin is now on her own and vulnerable more to Maul than even to Vader. I think that's what he's realizing right now. His death means that Maul is going to get his hands on Devin.
Well, we saw two children. I say children, you could say,
teenagers.
Teenagers not ready for the world, but somewhat streetwise and whatnot. I mean, you have Riley and you have Devin a little bit more so than Riley, but Riley grew up with a cop, as a father.
Yeah, but he also
they both
grew up
lost
going to
their
sports and everything. She's been on the run for like a year or so.
No, yeah, true. But Riley's got a little level of discipline through his sports and stuff that can translate well.
Notice how he only fired stun bolts too.
I did notice that. Yeah, I did notice that.
I liked that actually.
Yeah, he hadn't lost his humanity, so to speak, yet. I just use that as a characterization term. I don't mean it like, but both he and Devin lose their parental figure, literally and figuratively. Yes. And they both basically are saved by Maul at that point, and you can see that in
Devin
Dake. Master Dake's face, and then and then you could see the pain in Lawson's face when he realized, all right, well, kid, you got to go. I'm gonna keep them at bay, and that was a tough watch too.
Yeah, that was as much as losing Master Dake was hard, and it was. You knew it was coming. I kind of had a little more hope for Lawson, and again, Master Dake is clearly dead. That's it. Lawson disappeared into the fog. He took some hits.
Yeah,
but his wife does work for the Empire, so I'm wondering if maybe you see him in Imperial custody
come out of it
in the next season. Maybe
plausible. No body, no death. I mean, exactly. That's the rule, isn't it? So we thought Maul was dead. we all thought Maul died.
Right. But
so
needless to say, it ends. It ends as you expect it's going to end. The kids are a mess. The only survivors are Lawson, or Riley Lawson, Vario, Two Boots, who I'm surprised made it all the way to the end.
I know.
The droid was the easiest one to lose, but he's there, and he's basically. The thing I'm curious about is like that. It almost looks like Two Boots is going to like take up a parental role for Riley.
Oh yeah.
And then,
but think about it, having a police droid under the service of Maul, like that's going to be something.
Or even Crimson Dawn, whatever. It's very interesting. But Devin and Maul's like, I can teach you to be stronger, all this stuff. And she's like, I'm in. She already went ape when she saw Master Dake be killed by Vader and just reached, and they just, and she started kicking ass. Like one of the Inquisitors got hunted off of a bridge. So you don't know what happened to him. The Marak went over a cliff, Disney style. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
But look
body though, no death. Yeah.
But look at the look on this face, right? If there had been some yellowing of her eyes, which they didn't do that I could see, it wouldn't have surprised me. But she's clearly turning to the dark side. She's giving into the anger and the pain and all the negative emotions. And Maul is going to feed on that. And, a lot of people think she's going to be the Disney equivalent of the Darth Talon.
Yeah. It's the only way it's going to work out. I mean, they worked so hard. She's pink, and she turns red with tattoos. I mean, because that's what Maul has. Those are tattoos. That's not his natural color. So
which you could see some of.
Right. And then this is how it ends. Like they fly off and they're gone.
Well, Maul agrees to his half of the bargain and taking out the leadership of Crimson Dawn so Voss can take over.
Right.
And as you recall in the very short scene at the end of Solo where Kira, after she's killed Voss, she calls Maul, who's her boss now.
Right.
He's the next level up. So this is supposed to be getting us to that. I don't know how many, all the stuff on like Wikipedia is calling this season 1. So we'll see what it does, how, what goes from that. Clearly they're leaving this wide open because there's a lot of things that you're not seeing. I mean,
yeah,
if this was to be a mini series, then having Devin there was just a moot point because you never see her again, to a degree. Like,
exactly.
she would be Maul's apprentice, and then she's gone for 15 years, 20 years, so you wonder what's going to happen with that. Clearly, there's stuff we got to do to get us to Solo, and then you also have to figure out how does Maul end up with nothing and alone on Malachor, where he runs into
so many
rebels.
island jumping, so much island jumping when it comes to these plot moments, so much,
right?
Which irritates me. I've already said that, but
you never know. Next season could be a time skip.
It's gonna have to be.
They could do like multiple seasons of time skips, like how they did with Andor, how they even did times with Rebels. Rebels time skipped.
Or hear me out. They make the second season more episodic, and between episodes we see time skips. And
sure.
Basically the overarching theme of the last season of the second season of Andor, and then the overall theme would be that of Devin falling into Talon, basically. Won't say Darth, but what irritated me was, again, well-structured TV show, all could have been done in about 90 to 110 minutes. And then at the end, this is the payoff where it's basically, this could have been a pilot movie, like 3-4 episodes as a pilot for the rest of the season. And then we get to see more episodic adventures. And I think that writing it would have been more there. Just give me an episode where there's a payoff, where the story ends. This isn't an ending. This is a cliffhanger. Like, we're not resolved with anything at this point. We just see, this is where they get to the point where, okay, Darth is, I'm sorry, not Darth. Maul is now working for Dryden Voss, and we're going to be getting up to Solo at some point. So there we are. That's about it. But there's no resolution. We still, we don't have that. That's my gripe. I don't like this carrot dangling at the end of every single thing. It's not like a cliffhanger. Like, every single episode is ending so that you want to go see the next one, and there's no payoff at the end. Like, there's no beginning, middle, end. It's, what's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next tease? What's the next tease? And there's I've complained about it before.
You have,
again,
and it's not an invalid statement either. I'm not gonna, there's definitely some that come with that. I get it. I understand. Like, it, we also grew up in a time where things as episodic was commonplace, and sometimes for us, that filler, that connective tissue, that's not like has to be the next major point, and it's like, you can have a plot. Like, Bad Batch did a decent job in like the first 2 seasons of having an arching plot to the season, but being still somewhat episodic.
And I liked Bad Batch.
Mhm.
Like, I'm fine with that. I didn't complain about it being episodic. I appreciated it that way because I liked the beginning, the middle, and the end. Also, I want to show you this from Jedi Fallen Order. Can I do that?
Quickly, we're almost out of time.
I know. This is at the very end of the game. Same lighting, same smoke, and everything.
That doesn't look good. It isn't. It's him.
And all that. So I'm not going to play anymore for fear of copyright, but that was the same exact thing. Like, you didn't know that he was there, and then he just comes out of the woodwork like that. This is the last scene of this is the big boss battle leading up to it. So, I'm like,
Well,
why have I seen this before? That's what I saw.
no, I mean,
I experienced it.
Vader showing. See, part of it is like Vader showing up through the smoke is something we've seen since the 70s, right?
Sure.
Just being this big, powerful.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, this big,
And
powerful thing, and
the menace that some of which you really starts to sink in with more of these, right? Like, so Vader, you do see him very powerful and creepy. He doesn't say as much in A New Hope. You see more as he progresses in some of the other movies. And as he becomes more human, at times he's a little less intimidating.
yeah. I mean,
But when
yeah.
you see like the brutality of the hallway scene in Rogue One, when he goes through that town and just straight up like snaps people's necks and just throws them through buildings in
Those are all retcons, though.
in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know they are, but these are the things that you kind of miss. Like, you don't see the Vader of the prime Vader, right?
I'm gonna stop sharing now. Yeah,
So-
no, I mean, I agree.
And that's what this is. That's why the fight with Ahsoka was so good. This was good because, but what everyone really wants is to see Prime Maul versus Prime Vader, right? You don't
And
get
we
Prime
got-
Maul.
We didn't get
you
that. No, you're right.
You got a
We got
very
close.
dangerous. You got a dangerous Maul. You have an
Mhm.
experienced Jedi Master, and they both were getting beaten by Vader.
And he didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat either. Like, Vader was just one-handed with his lightsaber with both of them. Like, I did want to bring that up. he didn't have any effort to his movements whatsoever. And you saw both Maul and the Jedi giving everything they got on him.
Mhm.
Which leads us back to that scene in Obi-Wan where Reva, kept swinging her lightsaber at Vader, and he didn't even bring his lightsaber out. He just like dodged, ducked, and
and used the Force. He
Yeah.
stopped her blade with the Force, and you saw that again with Maul. He tried to kill Maul. Maul actually used the Force to block his lightsaber at one point too.
Mm-hmm.
It just was
So
a near thing. So there was a lot of good that came out of the show. The story got more and more engaging as it went on, and it was just more. Well, unlike TV shows like Rebels and some of these other ones, like, hope is dropping with each episode in this series.
oh yeah, because it's a descent to hell. The
And it
entire
is,
thing is a
and-
descent to hell.
And one after the other of the good characters drop. Not only are you losing entertaining characters, familiar characters like, Maul's team as they're being lopped off one by one, group by group, but you cops getting killed, your protagonists, like the heroes, Dake and Lawson, both appear to die. And then you have two kids who are essentially orphaned teenagers, in the hands of a former Sith Lord and a criminal in a criminal organization. It's not a great place. You have one kid who's like fully committed to the dark side, and you wonder what's going to happen. What's going to happen to Riley Lawson? That's what I'm curious about. We know where they're trying to lead us with Devin.
Yeah, we don't Riley is he's the loose thread. We don't know. And we've got no indication whatsoever either, which is, again, it's a tease, like always. But whatever. Grades. What do you give this season 1 of Maul, Shadow Lord?
I'm going to give it a solid 90, 92, like a good A-. It was a good show.
Yeah. I don't know whether to give it a B or a B plus, because the things I was irritated me. But again, it's not a bad show. It's a stylistic choice that I'm irritated with, that I hold against the actual development, so to speak. Because there's nothing wrong with it. I've just had a butt full of it. And also, the revelation of Vader has been done too much, which sucks, because that was an awesome last two episodes. That was awesome. Objectively, it was awesome. So I don't know. I don't want to get my personal feelings in there, but what is the value of putting a grade if my personal feelings aren't part of it?
And that's fair, but it was good. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes has it listed at 98%.
All right, I'm gonna put it at 86.5.
Sure.
Right on the cusp of a B plus. So
you want to call it a B plus? That's fine. It's a good show. It's definitely dark. And again, maybe on a rewatch, it might be more. You might see something that pops one way or the other, but it's solid. It's a positive addition to the canon. This is where I'm going with it. Okay.
Yeah, no.
And for
solid, yeah,
the
absolutely.
annual Star Wars Day project, it was a good one.
Yeah, no, agreed on that too. I agree on that too. Something we'll have to talk about later, but we're running out of time. So anything else? Anything else to close out, PT? I think we shall. So let's see. So until the next time, you guys, you know what? I gotta edit a new outro with our theme song. I just gotta figure it out, because
sure.
I don't like giving the outro or giving the closing statements before the music's playing. It just doesn't sound right. That's what's been irritating me. But until the next time, I'll fix that, guys. You guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. So long, everybody. I'm PS McKay. We're those sci-fi guys.
I'm TT Calfman. And there is still hope up on the high ground.
Yeah.
Mack's got a pen that can warp the stars. DT's got stories from cavalry scars. One writes the worlds where the heroes fly, the other old tanks under desert sky. From sandbox forts to the final frontier, two kids with dreams and a six-pack of beer. Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the streetlights spark. We're those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters or books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Mack spins a tale about a rogue AI. DT counters with man, I drove that guy. From doom to doom, we argue the stakes while the coffee gets cold and the pizza box breaks. Childhood pals in a grown-up fight for the best damn death scene on a Friday night. Pixels or pages, we're never done. Two working stiffs chasing alien sun. We're in those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters or books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah. No capes, no powers, just regular days. But we'll save the galaxy in our own ways. Max drafting novels in the dead of night. DT's got tank tracks, turns them into light. Together we're louder than a hyperdrive scream. Two regular dudes living the sci-fi dream. Yeah, yeah, we're with those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT Cammon lighting up the airwaves. From the sandbox to the stars, we'll never say die. Tune in, geek out, those sci-fi guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Next week, Blade Runners or replicants? Bring the Bourbon Rider boys, gonna get real.